Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Warcraft 3 replay cast. Today it's a 1 vs 1 on Twisted Meadows between the ever-delicious Eucalyptus and our yellow orc player, Grubby. It's gonna be an undead versus orc game, and it's not a top replay or a replay of the week, but supposedly it's pretty good, so I'm gonna check it out here. Gonna cast this game, and maybe hopefully it will be a top replay sooner or later. So we'll see what heroes these two are going to be going. Farseer, which is going to be very interesting, as nobody really ever goes Farseer, and the Death Knight for the Undead. So we'll see how this works out for these two players. And very interesting to see the Farseer, just because, as I said before, no one ever really goes to Farseer, at least not in super high level gameplay. I just don't think he's all that great. But it's very nice to see something different other than the Blade Master. And the Knoll Warden camp here going to go down for Grubby, and our orange undead player Eucalyptus is heading towards the top side. Looks like he may actually creep. I think I see some ghouls moving around on the map. So that is slightly unusual, or at least less so unusual than, or more so unusual than the Death Knight actually seeking out his opponent and trying to steal a creep kill. So the Knoll Overseer camp is going to go down. Farseer gets Gloves of Haste. And Undead now working on his Knoll Overseer. And I'm going to finish off the Brute camp here and help level up a little bit. He gets a Claws of Attack +6 from that. Meanwhile, the Farseer moving across the map there, going to meet each other, but the Undead much more so prepared for war than the Farseer, as he really has nothing with him.
We're under attack!
And that is certainly never good. Now I'm going to go after the other Knoll Overseer camp while he's chasing the Farseer here. He's going to gain the experience by proxy, as he's the only hero on the map. So he's still going to level up regardless, and I think I heard him level up. There he goes, level 2 now. Or perhaps he was already level 2. Not really sure, actually. He's just now getting level 2. And the Overseer camp here almost about to fall. Looks like he's going to wait for the Death Knight to get over there, and a couple grunts here going after the Brute camp. And those grunts could have actually probably stolen that Knoll Overseer kill. That would have been pretty nice. The Gloves of Haste for the Death Knight now. And it'd be a good item to get a Lich, and then hand it over to the Lich with that Orb of Darkness for a little bit of extra damage, and with the Darkness buff, debuff rather, on the units. It'd be a pretty nice combo. And grunts finish off a ghoul there. A little bit more experience for the Death Knight. Death Knight in the base, going after some of these acolytes, and that is definitely one thing that the Farseer is good for, is going after acolytes in particular. Not really so much peasants and maybe other peons, the like, just because they go in and out of the mine. A little bit harder to get at them, but the acolytes are just right out in the open. If somebody doesn't have a Nerubian tower, then definitely going to lose some acolytes. And now Grubby moving on over to the Knoll Overseer camp at the top side. And see what he gets here. I think he sold his Gloves of Haste on that Farseer, as he figured that was not going to be necessary. We'll have to see how that goes. He didn't really actually buy a Staff of Teleportation, Preservation, anything like that. And Grunt here running away from the Death Knight. And Death Knight tries to get, I think he may have tried to get that Knoll Overseer kill, but he actually hit a Grunt and did some damage. Maybe he intended to get that Grunt, but it wasn't enough damage to kill him. Ring of Selling +2 for our Farseer. You'll get a cool 60 gold for that. Grunt gonna fall there. Another chunk of experience for the Death Knight. One more kill, and he will get level 3. And Overseer, rather the Farseer. Keep wanting to call him Overseer for some reason. I'm not even really sure why. The Farseer. Sporting a Clarity Potion. And not really going to defend his base. Going to try and go back to those ghouls, or to those acolytes rather, and maybe try and get some kills from them. Stomp up production of the undead just a little bit. A War Mill coming up, a Bestiary as well. Just one Grunt here to defend, and the Burrows. So very interesting so far with Grubby not having too many units, just kind of skipping around, trying to get to that Bestiary as fast as possible. And now the undead base is being plotted on here by this Farseer. A Tauren Chieftain is on the way, and that is not too surprising from Grubby, as he always seems to get the Tauren Chieftain second. He's a big fan of the Tauren Chieftain. And the wolves disappear and resummon them elsewhere to prevent that experience from the undead there. Tauren Chieftain now going to go down to the Ogre Magi camp. Going to find the Death Knight right there. Very interesting place.
Work complete.
And Death Knight hits the Ogre Warrior there. Disrupts the situation a little bit. And he's in a little bit of trouble. He's trying to get out of there without having to use his Scroll of Town portal. It's going to be easier said than done with all of this in the way here. And now Brent's going to try and body block him, but looks like he's going to get out of there. And that aura coming in handy, making a move pretty quick. Now the Farseer here, about half health, and Death Knight reaches level 3. I think he finished off that creep there. And now the Farseer has to Scroll of Town portal out of there as the Lich is nearby. Gonna give that camp to the undead. Very unfortunate. Gets a Scroll of Intelligence, Tome of Intelligence rather. And Ogre Magi on the fall. Talisman of Evasion for the Death Knight. And gives his Gloves of Haste and the Claws of Attack to the Lich, which I figured he was going to do earlier, as it just makes sense. And Lich using Frost Armor first. No Frost Nova. Frost Nova and a Death Coil right now on that Farseer would be pretty devastating. Might even kill him off at this point. And a stun on the Lich. Now the Lich in trouble. Gonna have to Town Portal out of there to save him. Maybe not. Did receive a Death Coil there, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And I'm not sure if the Scroll of Town Portal is going to come in fast enough. And he gives it to the Lich. Now the Lich is invulnerable and will portal on out of there. It's going to give Grubby some time to maybe go to this Rock Golem camp or something else. Just need to get that Tauren Chieftain leveled up just a little bit. And same thing for the undead. That Lich pretty low, also very low on health. And I would have really liked to see him go Frost Nova. That Death Coil, level 2 Death Coil, and the Frost Nova, level 1 Frost Nova may have probably finished off that Farseer there. You only had 300 health left. And if it didn't finish him off, he would certainly not be in good shape. The Forest Troll Warlord camp gonna fall here. Tauren Chieftain is gonna soak up all of the experience. And Boots of Keothalas for the Orc. Probably just gonna end up selling those. Not really particularly useful. And a whole bunch of armor for the Tauren Chieftain right now with the Agility Boots. And the Tome of Agility +2. Farseer picks up a tome. I actually didn't see what tome that was. It was so fast, but I'm sure you guys did because you guys always have rewind. I simply don't. And that's what I really like. Any games that have replays that you can actually rewind. Believe it or not, it doesn't really happen all that often. Especially with Company of Heroes 2. Can't rewind a Company of Heroes 2 replay. Rewind. That's a tough one. It's kind of like Road in Black Sheep, the movie Black Sheep, and they're high on nitrous and talking about roads that, or rather words that sound odd. If you guys don't get that reference, you should really watch Black Sheep. It was a good movie. Rock Golem gonna fall here. Scourge Bone Chimes for the undead and Tome of Intelligence +2. And the Farseer grabs that. He says, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll take that." And the Death Knight with Scourge Bone Chimes, not too bad. Vampiric Aura and Unholy Aura. It's gonna help out those ghouls a little bit, but not that much. It's gonna help out the Death Knight a little bit more so than those ghouls. But sure, why not? Might as well support it for now. And the Raider falls for Grubby and Death Coil there on the Destroyer. Meanwhile, Grunt way out of position there, gonna fall pretty soon. And no Shadow Shadow Hunter for the Orcs, so no healing going on there. Can't really save that one. And Kodo Beast hasn't swallowed a unit yet, and oh, he almost got a ghoul there, got out of the way. And that would have been a pretty nice one because the ghoul doesn't take that long to kill, so by the time another engagement occurs, it probably would be already digested in the Kodo Beast and ready for another one. And expansion is up for Grubby here, and Orc Burrow coming up. Help defend that area for a place to hide. It's always a good time. Clarity Potion on the Farseer. Farseer hands it off to the Tauren Chieftain. And now healing on up, Orc style. Didn't have to really use any salves by the looks of it. And Tauren Chieftain in a little bit of trouble there, but stomps. And allows him to get away. A Bat Rider's coming in here and gonna suicide. And takes out both of those, almost both of those destroyers. Rather, took the other one down pretty low.
Our town is under attack.
And another Bat Rider coming out here. And that's something you don't see every day either, is Bat Riders. This is a pretty decent game so far, just because you don't see a Farseer very often, or Bat Riders. And another Bat Rider should be out in just a few seconds here. But it's going to need to lower the health of those Obsidian statues just a little bit, or the destroyers a little bit. And there goes suicide there into the destroyer. And lowered it quite a bit, but not quite enough. And Farseer now in a bit of trouble. Uses a staff and teleportation to the Kodo Beast. And a Dark Ranger on the side of the Undead. And Kodo Beast too low on health. It doesn't survive, but it does have another Kodo Beast, so it still has that War Drum's aura for now. Farseer falls. And Tauren Chieftain here in the center of it all. A nice stomp would be great now, but just doesn't have it. And Tauren Chieftain's gonna fall too. Not gonna make it out of there, so 2 heroes down for Grubby. And Eucalyptus now level 4 and a level 3 Lich. So not good for Grubby right now. Currently reviving that Farseer. And has 761 and 253. So maybe able to revive the Tauren Chieftain via the tavern and then get the Farseer via the altar.
I have an axe to grind.
And that's exactly what he does. And Grunt occupying the undead army for a little while. Just, yeah, let these guys follow you and kill you. It's okay for the horde. So he does it anyway. And now the Tauren Chieftain is in the undead base. And what is he going to be going after here? Going to be going after the slaughterhouse. And I just think I just heard the Kodo Beast digest a unit.
Under attack.
And now the Great Hall is in a little bit of trouble here. The Peons get inside the burrow, but not going to last too long here with all of these units bashing on it. So that didn't really turn out to be too much. I suppose it gave him a little bit of time. The Tauren Chieftain at the base here. And going to be town portaling in. And jumps almost on the undead. I think a little bit better one might have been right there to trap him inside. He would have had to make his way around the other side. Which would have been a nice death trap there. If you can even make it through there. Maybe ghouls. And Dark Ranger and the Lich coming down. Lich has a Alaria's flute of accuracy. Oh, I'm talking apparently is pretty hard today, you know, with the words and all. So that's pretty interesting. I did not see him actually obtain that, but that's even more damage for the Lich now. 14 for that Lich, and Gloves of Haste too. So he is just really chucking out the Frost Bolts, or rather, I suppose, Orb of Corruption bolt thingies now, whatever you want to call those. And Undead looks like he's going to go after the Forest Roll Warlord camp, or perhaps the Rock Golem camp, or perhaps none at all. So many options. So we have a level 1, a level 3, and a level 4 for the Undead. A level 3, and the Farseer level 3 as well. So Grubby's heroes levels pretty inferior right now. Now about even, except Eucalyptus has an additional hero. And with that, he will level up slower overall, but will have better damage, a little bit more abilities and tactics at his disposal. And Farseer here is going to run into some trouble and going to teleport away. Going to take a little bit of damage in there, but not too big of a deal. And now, Wind Rider's out. And I think the consensus on what those are called that they ride are wyverns. That's what I've come to the conclusion, and other people have as well. I was kind of wondered what the proper way to say that is. It's spelled W-I-V-E-R something or other. I actually didn't play a lot of Horde in WoW, so I never really rode a wyvern. Mostly Alliance. Yeah, I know. I'm sure everybody is going to be angry, and the Alliance people are going to say, go Alliance, and the Horde people are going to say, you suck. But either way, what are you going to do? I stopped playing in Wrath of the Lich King, so it was a very long time ago. And now, the battle's still raging here, but the Dark Ranger is very low, 99. And a Raider might fall. No, I think he gets away. Nope, the Spider actually gets him. And not too much left here for both players. The Undead very low. And Orc has more units by the looks of it. Just some ghouls for the Undead, but they're actually healing very quickly. Due to that Unholy Aura and the Vampiric Aura, without having to actually have the Dreadlord, who is usually not that great. I suppose the Dreadlord can come in handy. The sleep is pretty good, but just never really seen him used too often. I'm going to teleport on out of there to the top there at the shop. An excellent stun there. Gets all of the units. Tauren Chieftain's going to finish off one of those ghouls because of that. And now Tauren Chieftain very low. Going to scroll of speed on out of there, but he's sort of trapped. His own unit's trapping that Tauren Chieftain in there. Tauren Chieftain in big trouble. And is he going to be able to get out of there? Stomp. And not going to be able to buy a scroll of Town Portal or anything. And a Death Coil hits to Farseer. Farseer at 45 health. And Farseer really needs to bail out of there. Oh, it looks like he actually got rid of that shopper. It was destroyed earlier, rather. So he just teleported onto a unit, the Farseer. Farseer at 65 health. Bold move coming in here. And sees that the Death Knight doesn't have enough mana to actually cast a Death Coil. So he tried to do that very, very bold move, but now a Frost Nova is available for the Lich. And not anymore, actually. He's a Frost Armor, and now doesn't have the mana to do that.
We're under attack.
And Farseer now back at the base. Gonna get a Healing Salve, possibly a Clarity Potion as well. Has plenty of funds to do that. We can check Eucalyptus here. Has 500 and 400 to Grubby 700 and 350. So now healing up at turbo pace here. Clarity Potion and a Healing Salve going off. Heal up some of these units as well. Raider there pretty low. The other one's doing fine for now. And now the Undead here. Moving on out. Didn't really finish off that expansion though. And the Undead is not expanded at all. Not too much gold left in the mine.
Ready to ride.
So if this pace keeps up, the Undead will run out of funds, and Grubby will continue on mining, and we'll have units, and our Undead player will not. A Dark Ranger falls there to the critical strikes of the Direwolves. The Farseer trying to bail, now going to teleport out of there. Is he going to make it? And he's very, very low. He uses a Frost Armor there. And all the Lich's mana is going to Frost Armor, which is a really good skill. But at the same time, doesn't have that Frost Nova to actually finish off that Farseer. He could actually finish off that Farseer should he just have enough mana and do a Death Coil and Frost Nova sort of combination. Easier said than done. Death Knight falls. Now just the Lich. Lich does not have a Scroll of Town Portal and has to call GG as he lost all of his units. Couldn't take down that expansion of Grubby and knew that he was just about out of funds in the mine. Would not be able to mine much longer. And his heroes would have cost him a bit too much to revive. He needed to revive a level 3 and a level 5, which isn't too quite expensive. It's going to take a long time to get both of them, So he was pretty much done on that sense. Overview, the units tab. And so 5, 4, 3 to a 5 and a 4. Very interesting and sudden end, but well played in the end. I hope you guys enjoyed this replay, and I'll see you guys next time.